It's been a strong order book for solar industry. So let's welcome on board Manish Nuwal, the CEO and MD of the company, and chat a little bit about their visibility of earnings going forward. Manish, good to have you on the show. It's been a big push towards defense indigenization. India on Monday itself approved the restrictions on the import of an additional 108 military weapons and systems. How's that you're looking at these steps which were announced, and how big or meaningful a trigger does this turn out to be for you?
The government of India to procure from indigenous sources and enhance the private participation is very loud and clear. The recent list of 108 items is a reflection of that policy. And Solar is one of the first private company to enter into this line of business, which can produce complete ready-to-use ammunitions. And we are very bullish with this kind of government support for making ammunition in the country.
Sure. In the fourth quarter, defense sales for you fell by 26% on a year-on-year basis, as there was some disruption in the new order processing and execution of existing orders because of the pandemic-led restrictions. What's the outlook going forward, and would you think you'd be able to ease out on these parameters?
Like we have shared that we have already received an order for grenades in the last year, and the commercialization of that order has already started in the month of June. And with the backup of defense order book of almost 680 crores, we are likely to double the defense sales in 21-22. Last year, the sales was around 150 crores, and in this financial year, we are likely to cross 300 crores.
Now, we've seen a fairly strong order book. What kind of revenue growth can we see in defense, and how do you see your overall order book shaping up?
We are expecting that the sales of defense items will cross 300 crores in this year, and on the backup of order book of almost 1,500 crores. From all the items, we are expecting a rise in revenue by almost 30% in 21-22.
Okay. And the last couple of years as well, not just what we've seen right now for this big push in indigenization, but the government has taken many other steps as well to boost the defense industry. How have you looked at the defense procurement policy, for instance, as well as these additional steps?
The recent defense procurement policy was really a big push for the private people in this industry. For the first time, they have allowed any private companies to supply ready-to-use ammunition. So really, the recent policy of government to allow the private participation is definitely going to help the sector to grow much more beyond the level. And like the government of India's intentions is to make India a defense export hub. So these policies will really help the sector.
Yes, indeed. What is the update on your projections that you have? You mentioned that a 30% top line growth for FY22 is going to be contributed by 15% price growth and 15% volume growth. Are you on track?
Yes, like we have seen that COVID, the second wave of COVID has impacted one and all. We are also part of that system. We are also getting impacted by that. But despite of the second wave, which has impacted everyone, the severity is less compared to the first COVID wave. So we are quite optimistic that the guidance which we have given for 21-22 to increase sales by almost 30%, we are very much firm on that. We maintain our stand.
What's the update on the two new plants, that's one each in South as well as North India, that you were setting up? And will that further then aid the market share gain for you?
Yeah, the purpose of expanding in different part of the country is to cater the increasing demand for these products. And based on next 5 to 10 years growth plan, we are working on identifying the right location in the south and north part of the country. And due to COVID, that identification process got delayed, but now the recent opening up of the lockdowns has already started. So we are likely to identify the location in coming quarters, and we will share with all our stakeholders.
I would like to know the outlook on your realizations in light of the rise of the commodity prices that we've seen. How will it impact that?
The recent commodity price has really impacted our industry. The commodity prices has already increased by almost 35%, and our finished good prices has also increased by almost 20 to 25%. And that increase has already settled now. And going forward, we expect that on an annualized basis, there will be an increase of almost 15 to 17% in the finished good prices.
Right. I'm sorry, I didn't get that. How will your realizations be impacted in light of this 30% rise in commodity prices?
No, the 30% price increase will definitely increase our cost of input, and most of the contracts are linked to the raw material prices. So we expect that 15% to 17% price rise will be there in our finished good prices, and that will reflect in 21-22 numbers also.
Okay, so in consequence, you are going to go ahead and raise your prices as well. Has there been any sort of softened demand from coal mining companies due to the pandemic? Has this impacted your volume growth?
If you look at the Q4 numbers, the growth was there in the volumes also. And in Q1, which is still running in the system, we are not expecting or we are not seeing slowdown in the coal mining. The main reason is that despite of lowering of coal production in the last year, the Coal India and Singareni collieries in particular are trying to increase their overburden removal. And there has been significant growth in that portion. So if we look at that kind of momentum, we see that the growth of demand or the growth of the overburden removal will remain, and we don't see slowdown in that state. So we expect volume growth from Coal India and Singareni collieries in particular.
Thank you so much for joining in and giving us a view as to what this means for the company, as well as how you're looking at your financial projections going forward. That's the outlook coming in by and large on the defense space. And solar industries, the stock is at 1621, up about 0.8%.